Some of this will meld quite a bit with IBSI's mandate to strengthen the tie between Israel and Africa and the Black and Jewish communities. One of the latest pieces in our Substack, which is called Africa Israel Weekly, African women refuse to join the lynch mob against Israel. I'm mentioning it to you for this reason. Both the UN representative who is from Kenya and also one of the justices of the International Court of Justice, he is from Uganda. Both of them made headlines, so to speak, because of their integrity. The UN advisor refused to condemn what Israel is doing in Gaza as genocide because it's not genocide. The ICJ, International Criminal Court Justice, refused to condemn Israel as occupying because Israel's not occupying. They're specifically talking about Gaza and the war. Why do they do it? Because they love Israel? I don't know what their religious leanings are. I do know that sub-Saharan Africa is one of and soon to be the largest Christian population. And so they're also some of the most devout Christians in Africa. That may be very well this part of these ladies' ethos. I don't know them. I've never met them before. And what I say in the article as you read it is that neither of them made a ruling that refused to condemn Israel that was based on their affinity for Israel, their pro-Israel stance, quote unquote. They made the ruling based on the actual facts and the evidence at hand. They are modern day Shifra and Puah. Who are Shifra and Puah? Those of you who know your Bible. Those are the two Hebrew midwives in the book of Exodus chapter 1, in which the Pharaoh decides that because there are too many Hebrews, because they're having too many children, and because too many children, right? Because children are an inheritance from the Lord, and they're growing so quickly, Pharaoh preempts anything because nothing negative has happened, but he decides that the Hebrews are too many in number and that they might one day rise up against them. It's the original protocols of the elders of Zion. Here you have the Pharaoh who begins to oppress the Hebrews, oppress the Israelites, not because they've done something, but because he's concerned that one day they might do something. Before there was a Hitler, before there was a Stalin, before there was the Grand Mufti of Jerusalem, there was the Pharaoh who decided he would oppress the Hebrews who had done nothing to him. As a matter of fact, the Hebrews' ancestor, Joseph, had saved his hide and the entire kingdom, the entire empire of Egypt. The sages teach that in that first chapter of Exodus, the Pharaoh goes from one stage to the other in oppressing the Hebrews. When he recruits the Hebrew midwives, he wants them to kill every baby boy. If the Hebrews have a child and it's a girl, leave her alone. But if it's a boy, why? Procreation. He's the priest of the home. He's the father. It's amazing how that demonic mindset comes after the men. Not because the women aren't important, but because the men, the head, the priest of that house, the protector of the family, you want to dismantle a society, come after them, emasculate the men, make the men confused, tell them that they're women. That is the mindset of someone who would want to destroy a society. The midwives refuse. And God blesses them for that. But later on, it says that Pharaoh recognizes that they're still having these babies, and he instructs to throw all the babies, to kill all the babies, throw them in the Nile. Rashi, who is one of the vaunted sages within Judaism, points out that in the Hebrew, it does not say throw the Hebrew boys in the Nile. It says throw the boys in the Nile, which may very well mean that Pharaoh killed Hebrew and Egyptian boys because, according to the sages, the magicians told Pharaoh, according to the stars, the Hebrews' Messiah has been born. In other words, their deliverer has come, who we know as Moses. But we cannot determine whether or not he's Hebrew or Egyptian. And to cover his bases, he gives instructions for everyone to throw the babies in the Nile. If that was the actual case, it is the beginning of the old adage now, what starts with the Jews never ends with the Jews. It was a starting of oppression of the Hebrews, but later on, because of the mindset of Pharaoh, may very well have killed Egyptians as well, to make sure that no one would rival his throne. That what started with the Hebrews may have very well spread to everywhere. We see that principle has played out over the thousands of years. I wanted to say that first because I want to underscore the spiritual nature of what's actually going on here.
Choose the Power Live with Jimmy Study Washington.